Alright, you're in charge of this one.
Okay. Love it. Episode, I'm losing count. 4. I have it saved on the thing. I just need to look up. Episode 4. Episode 4. I should probably put my headphones in so I can hear myself talk. There we go.
Check one.
Is about the casual killing act. I'm so used to you starting off because you just do it so elegantly.
Welcome back to Black and White Thoughts!
Yeah, I'm like, oh hey.
We did a bathroom break and now we're here. I did a bathroom break.
Sniff. I should have. Yeah, so this episode, I really don't have a very laid out whatever about it. I just saw this on Instagram yesterday. No, 2 days ago, because I talked to you about it yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. 2 days ago, and I was floored that I didn't realize that it existed. So I sent you this video, which you watched, and basically the start of the video, I believe her name is Dr. Joy Day, is Cruy?
We're gonna put that video in our account.
Yeah, I don't know. It's C-R-U-Y. How would you pronounce that?
C-R-U-Y?
That's her last name, I'm pretty sure.
Croy?
I don't know.
Croy. Forget it.
Le quoi? So it was a video that someone posted and I clicked on it and I watched it, and the start of the video was basically talking about the casual killing act. But then she did what I do best and she digressed several times, but the video was very powerful and it had some images in there and it really talked about the psychological connection of dehumanizing black people, just by white people in general, and then she goes into talking about how kids were smiling at lynchings and how people would want pieces of burned bodies put on their mantles and stuff, and I was just wow.
I don't care what color you are, that's weird.
That's super weird, right? But her point was that all of these laws and these things, that these acts that happen, was all of these kind of deep-rooted things of white people dehumanizing black people, right? Mm-hmm. So the video was 6.5 minutes long about that, and it was the most insane 6.5 minutes I've ever listened to.
It was very enlightening, and to me it was when we're talking about how we need to rewrite history and how we need to include these things so that it's truly an American history.
Yeah.
Black, white, good, bad, all the things.
And put it in there.
And this was just I love that it's called the casual kill act, because it's just so casual. Just kill people. It's totally fine. But it's this is going to be an episode of just kind of basic education. Just let's learn some things together. Yeah. Let's be amazed by the history. Yeah. Not amazed in a good way. No. And know that this is a part of our past. And this is what has led us to, or has been a part of that history getting us to where we are now. And we need to acknowledge these. We need to learn from them. And what is the saying? You gotta learn your history. Those who don't learn history are destined to repeat it. Yeah. I hope we don't ever go back to this. But
I'm gonna move. I'll go to Canada.
I don't know if Canada's...
They have slavery too, so I don't even know why I'm talking.
I mean, they got way higher tax bracket. Yeah. They use the metric system.
I can figure it out. I already did it when I was in college. That's all of our jump
But Midgey's basically Canada.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. You jump and you're there. But yeah, so back to your point, this, I don't have any long-winded answers about this. I truthfully... did not know anything about it. As of 48 hours ago, I was dumbfounded by this information. So this is just to talk about it, just to kind of figure out what in the world it is, because I was huh? So I went, and because we joked about yesterday, I like to take deep dives into the rabbit hole about information and then gather it and then just share it with every single person I could possibly find. There wasn't a lot on it. I really couldn't find anything on it. It gets brought up a lot. On the internet, it's referenced a lot, but there's no credible sources that I would be okay, yeah, this Harvard study or whatever, which is almost telling within itself, right? That
you put no resources.
Yeah, that I went to do a classic normal Google search,
a Wikipedia.
Yeah, nothing. It was just it was a couple black-owned or black websites, and again, it was just excerpts of it. So I found the best thing that I could on it, and I literally, this will be our first time kind of looking at it together. I wanted to be a genuine reaction and not the know-it-all that I claim to be all the time. So basically, the thing that I found is a PDF, and it's Virginia's slave codes, which I was huh? like Virginia had slave codes. Yeah. But then I was like, I bet you everywhere had slave codes, right? And then the part that blew me was that the Casual Killing Act is of 1669, but these codes started in 61. So, like...
They had to put some thought into it.
Yeah.
You gotta, like...
You had to get to the point where it was killing.
I mean, when you just said, like, I had the Virginia slave codes right before this, I wrote down, it makes sense because I thought of it as farm animals, and, like, slaves were property, and we have rules on what to do with property.
Wow.
You can build, you can do this to your animals, you can do these things. So, like, yeah, obviously, as property, we had codes.
Wow.
And that's, like...
My brain did not go there, but that was painfully deep.
I mean, but that's, like, I have goosebumps just thinking of, like, that's how we treated black people.
Like, somebody sat down.
That's how it started.
And, like, that was their thought when they, and I'm over here just like, can you believe they had codes? Like, I didn't even, wow.
Like, we gave them the same respect we give cattle. We give houses. Way back when, we give women. Like, that's how it was. So I'm very interested to see where so let's first tell me about the Casual Killing Act and just like high level what it is. The first video is like 10 seconds of it because I think that'll be so telling for what these codes will entail.
Yeah, so the Casual Killing Act was basically it was an act set in 1669 that gave permission for masters or the like second-hand people of masters to kill a slave if they were being disorderly. No other context. Like, you could be like, no, I can now kill you. I now have the right to kill you.
Yeah, it was not a felony charge.
No felony charge. It basically was just like...
You were keeping them in line.
It's not even expunged. Like, it's not even like there was...
Right, no.
Right? And then it like...
There is no record.
None. Like, yeah, so it basically gave white people the authority to blatantly kill black people.
And so my, like, first reaction watching this video is like, okay, you're out in the field, somebody's not behaving, a master or whomever goes and, like, whips you to death. Something like that. But who did she say was, like, the number one person to do this and get away with this?
Women.
White
women. Yeah.
Like... It is the white women getting pissed off at the maids or the kids.
Yeah. So white women were like beating kids to death. Yeah, black kids to death. But another stereotype, oh gosh, where did it come from? But that's connected. So mixed kids were like kind of frowned upon because a lot of those kids came from like rapes. Like, the master would rape black women, and then the kids would become mixed. And so white women, like, they got jealous of the black women because their husbands kept, like, basically, like, reproducing.
So, chimpanzees, the men will have sex with as many women as they can because they want to reproduce. Yeah. And, excuse me, I said that wrong. The white chimpanzees. The chimpanzee women will have sex with as many men as they can. Okay. Because a male chimpanzee, if he knows he had sex with you, knows that the kid might be his, so he will leave the kid alone. Okay. If the female, I don't know, whatever word I'm saying. If the female chimpanzee hasn't had sex with that male and he sees a kid, he might kill the kid. Oh. Because I took a sex biology class. Yeah, I was like, very interesting, actually. But so they said that the female chimpanzees will go and just slut around to make sure that all these men think that the kid could be theirs and won't kill it. Wow. So this is almost like primal to me, that like we literally gave white women a way to get rid of children that were a hindrance to their legacy. Yep. Yeah, because like that was a very common thing, which it's a really dark thing, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but yeah, like that's how like mixed kids, I don't want to be like came to be, but came to be, right? And so they weren't necessarily, they didn't really fit in with, the black people, and they definitely didn't fit in with the white people, and so like white women, white like masters, I don't know what you call them, they would beat these kids to death. That's crazy. Yeah. So there's a little preview into what these slave codes may entail. No. And it's, this is our true history. This is stuff that happened, and we we literally stamped this approval at some point.
Yeah, it was like...
Somebody thought this was a great idea.
So the Virginia Slave Codes, I'm just going to kind of read. Mm-hmm. So this document, it's just a PDF. I don't know if it's all of them. Like I said, I know nil things about this. But it's excerpts from William W. Henning, The Statutes at Large, being a collection of all the laws of Virginia, Volume 2, from 1823. Okay, so that's the source from these. And then it does give like a little statement that's saying that some of these things have been modernized.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah, because I don't read old-timey. So document A of the Slave Code is from March 1661 and 62, and it's basically called the Runaways. Okay, so before I'm going to skim it, you tell me what you think that means. Before I even tell you what's in here.
In my most casual, sassy, sarcastic response, it's like, you ran away and you're about to get got. Like something bad's going to happen because you tried to get out of slavery.
Okay.
So what happened?
So it's really long. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll start at the top. So it says, whereas there are diverse loitering runaways in this country who are very often absent themselves from their master's service and sometimes in a long time cannot be found, that loss of the time and the charge in the seeking of them, often exceeding in the value of their labor. I don't really know what that means.
So I think that's saying that the lost productivity and the time and resources we're spending looking for you is often greater than just if you would have been, like, it's the lost labor.
Okay.
If I'm getting that.
Okay, and then so halfway through it goes, and in any case, any English servant shall run away in company of any Negroes who are incapable of making satisfaction by addition of time. It is enacted that the English so running away in the company with them shall at the time of service to their own masters expire.
So if you run away, you gave your notice.
Interesting. Yeah. So this must be like a thing. I guess like there's just a lot of people running away, huh?
A lot of English servants.
Running away with slaves.
Negroes.
Oh, so okay. So then a little bit further down, if the Negroes be lost or die in such time of their being run away, the Christian servants in the company with them shall by proportion among them either pay 4,500 pounds of tobacco, and cast for 4 years service for every Negro who is lost or dead. Wow. That's
quite the debt to pay.
Yeah, it is. So basically, if I think I'm understanding this, if I was a plantation owner and my head count was whatever, basically every person there has a $4,500 pound of tobacco fee on their head. And if one of them gets away and they're found lost or dead, I owe that money.
There's some risk to running away.
Interesting.
That's
wild.
First of all, can we just acknowledge that payment isn't tobacco?
Yeah. I mean, it is.
I'm learning more than just things about
it. It is 1661.
It is 1661. We should have wore bonnets.
No, absolutely not.
Although that'd be racially we'd be wearing different clothes.
Yes, we would. No, absolutely not.
Right.
Okay, so document B. Okay, so anything you want to add to that? Anything that you took away from that?
I mean, I think of anything, it kind of goes back to my first point that property.
Yeah.
Straight up property. I mean, nothing about that was good luck, enjoy freedom.
Run away.
We're banishing you from the church. Yes. It was just you cost us money.
Yeah.
That's
which almost goes right back to why they probably tried so hard to keep these slaves around, because it's I literally bought you, and if you come up lost or stolen and someone finds out you got away, I now have to pay. It's like a tax.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh wow.
You'd be the most entertaining history teacher.
Me?
You guys. The boat sank. Wow. The boat sank. I teach this class every year.
I'm an animated person. What can I say?
I love it.
Okay, document B. So December 1662, so roughly a year later, it says women servants got with child by their masters after their time expired to be sold by the church wardens for 2 years for the good of the parish. That was very old-timey for me. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how modernized that one was.
Yeah. So the next part says, whereas by act of assembly, every woman servant having a bastard is to serve 2 years. Wow. And late experience show that some desolate masters, I think I said that right, have gotten their maids with child and yet claim the benefit of their service. And on the contrary, if a woman got with child by her master should be free from that service, it might probably induce some loose persons to lay all their bastards to their masters.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, they think if they let you off the hook after you're raped and have my child, they're all gonna go around and make babies with their masters. Because you'll get to relax. So no, you have to serve if you have your master's child, which you were probably raped to have.
Yeah. Whoa. And the fact that someone wrote that down, like that was documented. Basically like, hey, if you get raped and have a kid, that you still gotta be a slave when you're done with that kid. Too bad.
Mm-hmm. I think what's really interesting too is the participation of the church.
Yeah.
And I think I'm a Christian. We're not even going to go down that path too deep, but just how people can hide behind religion as if that's the solution.
And it clearly in this case is not.
Like, I mean, I learned different lessons in church, and it was more like, love thy neighbor. There's nothing loving here.
No.
But, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. There's some more stuff about selling the bastard. I don't really want to read it,
good.
so we're just going to move
on. Most likely the white mom killed it anyway.
Yeah. Well, we're getting there. We haven't even gotten to that point yet. So document C. So still in December. Everything just went down in December 62.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Negro women's children to serve according to the condition of the mother. Okay? So whereas some doubts have arisen whether children got by any Englishman upon a Negro woman should be slave or free. Okay? So there was a debate about it. Be it, therefore, enacted and declared by this present Grand Assembly that all children born in this county shall be held bond or free according to the condition of the mother.
Okay.
And if that any Christian shall commit fornication with a Negro man or woman, he or she so offending shall pay double the fines imposed by the former act. Okay,
so you follow your mom.
Yep.
And if the guy, the master, I'm going to make the assumption he's a guy, makes a baby with you, he has to pay twice. You got double the labor. It kind of makes sense.
So is that how cattle works? So like if I have a cow and then they have like babies?
I don't know. Do you pay tax on cows?
I don't know. That's what I meant. You're the one who did the biological thing, you think?
They didn't teach the sale of cattle in my sex.
Well, they should have, because it's a direct correlation with the sale of black people, so.
I mean, and it's so funny that when you read these, like, it actually makes sense.
Uh-huh.
Like, alright, if mom's a slave, the kid's a slave. Like, exactly.
It's like that's what I'm saying for it. Logically disrespectful.
But it totally goes back to the concept of property.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't look at this as a human.
No.
Like, how can you look at a child that is yours and submit them to a life of slavery?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it sounds like you could free the mom and then the kid's free to go, but, like,
you're not
is she really free?
No. And then the fact that, which kind of makes sense because we're getting close to what we were going to talk about, but it makes sense that, like, throughout the years until 69, like, killing became casual, right? Because up until some point in time, I would assume that, like, masters would probably run around, you know, having babies and, like, I don't want to say they were all raping, but, like, I feel like it wasn't very consensual. I feel like there was a definite, like, I have to do this, right, vibe to it. Having these kids, and I bet you, like, the women were probably like, whoa. And then it was like, well, we'll add a tax to every child that you reproduce so that you stop doing it, and that probably didn't help. And then it probably became gradual, where it was like, okay, well, the tax isn't working because you guys are just making a shiz ton of money, and you don't care, you're probably just paying the tax, right? So now we're going to make it okay to just beat slaves to death. It was like population control.
I have a lot of thoughts on that matter.
Man.
Not relevant to today.
Man. Oh, jeez, I'm like breaking the mic over here. Like, this is how, like, I am shooketh.
It is.
We haven't even gotten to document E, which is the thing. Okay, document D. So September of 67. So from 62 to 67, I guess this worked. I don't know. These things
we were sufficiently controlled.
Yeah, everybody was controlled. So September 1667, an act declaring that baptism of slaves doth not exempt them from bondage.
Wow. You don't even have to read that.
I'm not even going to read that.
Like, that is... You are cleansed of your sins, but you're still owned by me. That's crazy. God freed you, but I didn't.
But I didn't.
Like,
yep.
As a slave owner, I am mightier than God. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not even going to read that. Document E. So it goes to H, but E is the one that we were talking about. So, document E, October 1669. Okay, so 2 years later almost. An act about the casual killing of slaves. Whereas only law enforced for the punishment of refractory servants resisting their master, mistress, or overseer cannot be inflicted upon Negroes, nor the, abstinence? What is that word? Whatever. Of many of them, by other than violence means suppressed, be enacted and declared by the Grand Assembly if any slave resist his master, or in parentheses it says, or by others his master order correcting him, and by the extremity of the correction should chance to die, that his death shall not be considered a felony, but the master, and in parentheses, or the other person appointed by the master to punish him, be acquit from molestation, since it cannot be presumed that the malice existed, in parentheses, which alone makes murder a felony, or that anything should induce any man to destroy his own estate.
That is... I mean, okay, let's just start with the fact that we call it casual. Because, like, I just casually get pissed and
beat
things. Also, we were talking about if any slave resist his master and the extremity of the correction should chance to die. Like, if I am beating you and you just, like, chance death.
You just happen to die.
Like, it's cool.
Doesn't matter.
It's on you. Like, that's quite literally how I'm taking that. Is like, you chanced to die. I'm okay.
Wow.
It's just,
Wow. I don't even, like... The way she explained it in that video was crazy, but then to, like, read the whole thing... Because, like I said, like, there's only been, like... basically, like, the felony part, like, death shall not be considered a felony, is what's on the internet.
Right.
Like, that's, like, the most prevalent thing you can find, like, when you search it. But, like, to read it, and to read the build-up to that point.
Right.
And I hate to say it, but how logic everything was. Like, how concise everything was. Like, well, we're going to set this, and then this, and then this, and it was orderly.
I mean, you can see the progression of things, right? We had some slaves. We started making babies with the slaves. The moms didn't love that we had housies running around.
Yeah.
So let's just casually take care of that. And it's exactly the logic of the progression is there. And it all stems from they're not people.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah. So, okay, I don't want to keep reading anything, but, like, to go back to the video, right? So, the part of the video that really kind of got me was when she made us look at the girl in the video, the little girl in the video, and that there was another girl that was at that lynching that was younger than her, and that they did not seem fazed at all. That this black man was hanging from a tree. Everybody was, like, gathered, like, trying to take a picture, right? And the point that she made was she said, if that was her dog hanging from that tree, she would be hysterical.
Right.
She would be crying. She'd be bawling. This is her animal. And the fact that we got to a point where a black man, a person, is less than a dog. Like, when she said that, like that.
And this is like pre the life where like our dogs were our babies.
Right.
Like now, some people might argue.
Yeah, right now for sure.
But like,
I'd say my dog over a lot of people.
Yes. That's a lot to be said on that. And that's, I mean, she was talking about like the complete dehumanization and how we've been trained. And she was saying that it goes actually both ways as far as black people have lost their humanity because we've dehumanized them. We've made you not a human. You don't have that. But then she went so far as to say with that girl, the example, she said, we robbed her of her humanity.
Yeah.
We trained her.
Yep.
We put her in this world to not see that, to not respect and honor what humanity is. And that to me was just like, as the white person who does get defensive, who does think like it's not that bad, like that to me was like, you know what? It's okay that I'm going to make a point.
I get what you mean.
It's okay that I am this way because this is the world that I live in and I grew up in. And
your world robbed you of your humanity. Exactly. You're like the little girl in this situation.
And I actually wrote it, and I wanted to like write it to make sure I said, it is not your fault as a white person that you grew up this way. It's not your fault.
No,
this is the world.
I would jump on top of that too, yes. I agree with that 100%.
It's your fault if you don't change it moving forward. Because right now, as a conscious person, and if you're listening to this podcast, it's because you know it's right. You know there's need for change. If you're paying attention and having any bit of a heart out there, if this world hasn't ruined you yet,
if you're not cynic and jaded,
then you know we have to change. And that is where I just was like, that we have to respect the humanity. And knowing things like these, to know where we came from, that we had a person, you as one of my best friends on the planet, hundreds of years ago, I wouldn't have seen that.
No.
It's remarkable. And we have to honor that.
Yeah. I'm like, I very, very rarely am at a loss of words. And that truly, like, I'm going to have to sit on that. Like, I'm really going to have to sit on that. And that's why I kind of wanted to do this and like, not prepare for it.
Right.
Because that's like my middle name. Like I'm always prepared for it, and I usually think about stuff, and I kind of marinate in it. But like this is a genuine like wow.
Yeah.
And that's
how does it feel for you knowing that like if you were born in a different time,
my life would be absolutely, completely, utterly different, and probably not long. Like, right?
I don't think you meant that funny.
No. But it's something I talked to my sister today about where. We were joking about how we're like very witty, funny people, and I said some of the.
You would have sassed back and been casually killed.
Yeah. Right. But we were talking about how some of the best comedians, like, why do we think people are funny? Why do we gravitate towards people that are funny? Some of the best comedians are funny because they're troubled. Right. And we were just talking about that, and we were talking about the friends and the people that we connect with and who we consider ourselves like close to or who we vibe with right away when we can joke about our pain. So like to come back around, like there's been a few times where like you and I will laugh about something. It's clearly not funny.
Right.
But it's so bad. It's so painful. It's so real that like that is the initial reaction from a lot of people. Is to laugh. And there's no disrespect intended, because I'm like that too. Like, my life has not been perfect. I've had ups and downs, things like that. And I think that is what has forged me to be as witty as I am, because your coping mechanism is just to find the humor in it. It's so bad it's funny, right?
Well, I keep saying I'm Chandler Binging this whole situation.
Yeah.
I don't quite know how to address, so I just make a racist joke. Like, that's going to solve this problem.
Right? Like, let's add that layer on top. But to answer your question of, like, how do I feel knowing that, I mean, what, a couple hundred years ago? Like, it's not even that long ago. Like, so when I say, like, we as people have gotten smarter, I mean, we have been given the ability to educate ourselves, to not regress, right? Because we're all oppressed, right? I would say people of color in general, like, no, we are in modern day slavery. Like, that's how I look at it. I'm in a modern version of slavery, right? no, you don't own me, but there's a lot of things that you own that I do not get to be a part of, right? There's a lot of things that you control that I don't get to be a part of. And so that's what I mean, like, we've gotten smarter. I think that people of color have gotten smarter, and they figured out how do we navigate that, how do we create opportunities for ourselves, how do we get to a place where we can kind of have more than the generation before us. But then on the other side of that, I think white people have gotten smarter, right? And they've twisted and moved and done things and set things in motion that just for some reason keeps you down.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I told you earlier I was watching some minister, and I'm sure we'll talk about him someday because it was an interesting video, but it was from like the 80s, and somebody had commented in it, like, it's amazing that 40 years later, like, we're asking these same questions, and it's almost like we are, when you say white people have gotten smarter, probably not intentionally. For the most part, we all try to be good people, so it's not active.
No,
but it's almost like we do just enough to make it a little better. Things quiet down a little bit. Okay, you want to come to our schools? Okay. Oh, you want to vote? Okay. Oh, you want to be free? We'll make that happen over the course of a few years. And then it just kind of, it's enough. And then something happens, like has happened now, and we have to appease you again. Is almost what it's...
Yeah, that's actually, that's what I was trying to say, but didn't really realize that that's what I was, in that context, from that perspective, right? Because I don't have that, but that's a powerful perspective. That's a huge perspective.
I mean, I never would have thought about it in the context of slavery. Like, but that's kind of, it's our way of control. That's that we can keep you where we want you.
Right.
Whether we want you there.
Right.
Whether we know it or not.
Right. Well, and then that's like, it goes back to, we can kind of reference our last podcast where it's like, you have to remember that people aren't attacking you. They're just trying to get you to understand, right? What has happened not that long ago, where we're coming from, where we're trying to go, and don't just give me an inch and then go there, that's good enough, right? Don't give me a half a mile and go, isn't that good enough?
Right.
You already have? Yeah, but I don't have what you have. Right? And then it almost kind of ties into the stereotype of black people always being the victim. Maybe there's a little bit of your truth behind that stereotype. Maybe it's because we are, but in order for us to feel bad about it and to kind of have your arm a little bit around our neck, you make it sound like it's bad.
Well, it's not even that you don't have what we have, it's that you don't have the opportunity to have what we have.
Yes. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to hear things like these slave codes and think like, we've come so far.
Yeah, we have.
Like, I'm pretty sure there's nobody out there that's like, you can, like, I don't think I can casually kill you right now and get away with it.
I would hope not.
I don't think I can, pay a little extra and get like an extra slave hand if I just like make a baby quick.
Right.
But so it's easy for, I think, us to just brush off as like, oh, we did so much already. Look how far you've come. You're lucky you don't live in that life anymore. And it's work, and I think that's just it, is that it's conscious work. People don't like change, and people are lazy.
Nailed it.
That's what this has to be to make any sort of long-term impactful change. And what's interesting is, and this leads into an abundance of topics, when we talk about, what is the next step? Because I remember when the protest started, I was just like, what do they want? Like, what is... And, that's when we get into defunding the police and whatever else that we think might be the answer. But it was clear previously, we want to vote. We want to be in your schools. We want these things. That was a very tangible, okay, we can give that to you.
Yep.
And now we're good. We're not really in a place right now where we can just, like, give you something.
There you go.
And it's going to make it better.
Quiet you down for a little while.
Yeah, this is going to have to be a much more deep-rooted, fundamental, it'll take a while to change. Like, this is nothing we can do. We can't vote something in tomorrow, and you can come to school with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then the tough part, too, and why I call it modern-day slavery is for that exact reason, right? There's so much that's been embedded inside of everything that it's going to take a really long time to kind of pull those roots out and start over. and give those opportunities. Because that's where it starts. It's an opportunity, right? And not to get to a place where both parties feel ashamed for being inclusive. Yeah. Right? Because I feel like both sides, like, to the point that I made, I don't remember what podcast it was that we did, but to the point I made of like, I don't ever want anything given to me. I've never wanted anything given to me. Most people that I know, black or white, person of color, don't want anything given to them. I want the opportunity to earn it. But on the other side of it, and correct me if I'm wrong, from, your perspective, I feel like a lot of white people feel like they now have to give it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not what anybody's asking you. I'm not asking you to give it to me. And then there's the confusion of like, well, I gave you what you want. No, you didn't. You gave it to me. Right. Keyword that you gave it to me. I'm not asking you to give it to me. I'm asking you to give me an equal shot at it. So you handing me this, that's the physical. Cool, thank you. But that didn't solve the deep-rooted problem of like, why haven't I been able to get that on my own?
And that's, one of the podcasts I want to get into is like, diversity programs at workplaces, scholarships for minorities, and that's, we'll touch on this topic. Is cool. Really.
I like that you have all these like topics in your mind.
I have such.
And I'm just like, okay, and it's like I feel like the listener because you say something, I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna talk about that.
Cool. She doesn't know this, but there's a very long list of things. So like us or not. Subscribe below. Yeah. We're going to be doing this for a while. Because I have some questions.
I'm ready.
But no, that's really, it's, I don't think you're in the minority there when you say you just want that opportunity to get there. Mm-hmm. And that's what we just have to be conscious of every day that, hear that. Like, as white people hear that, like, they don't want us to just give them things. Like, it's not a handout. It's not welfare. It's not whatever. It's...
Which is another thing. Like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's another part. I think a lot of these, like, you want this, you want us to give you this, kind of feeds into a lot of those stereotypes. Mm-hmm. Right? Well, like, we gave you welfare, we gave you EBT. Nobody asked you to do that. Right. Why am I on it? Mm-hmm. Why is that massive, large majority of this type of people on it in the first place? Don't give it. Why are we on it? Why do you have to give it to us? Mm-hmm. Right? Let's back up.
Right. It's so far down. Uh-huh. We have so much further to go. Yeah. It's a Band-Aid.
Yeah. It's a Band-Aid. Yeah, 100%. But I loved your point. Like, that was really good. I did not think of it like that. Good. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. You do that all the time, though. You blow my mind all the time. That was really cool.
That blew my mind. So, I hope you enjoyed. Yeah. I hope you learned something. I was going to say I hope you enjoyed learning, but I don't know.
I enjoyed it.
I hope that you enjoyed learning, and this is another style we can do is just, let's learn something together, and these were really authentic and genuine. Actually, my note about the fault thing was not for this episode. So I was not prepared either for this, and it's just we have a lot to learn, and for those of us who aren't in school, aren't going to go to school, it's going to be a conscious learning opportunity. We have to go out there. We have to get these facts. We have to. All of the streaming places are doing a great job of putting things out there. Use those resources, learn those stories, and
and also too, like, and I've said this before. I encourage you to do stuff like this. Like, I was on Instagram. And I saw this video, and I was like, what is that? And then I was like, I have to figure it out. I have to talk about it. So yeah, like, all these resources are really cool, but what I'm finding with people and why I think, like, the dust is settling is everybody is using the same resources, like, the main resources. So it's like, oh, did you see that document? Yeah, I saw it. Right. And then there's no conversation about it. It's just like, oh, it's crazy, right? Yeah, it's nuts. Right? Get out there. Go learn something new. And then tell other people about it, because there's so much stuff out there that we could talk about each one of those documents, right? Like, each one of them could be their own discussion. But
what's so interesting too is I think I've been seeing a lot of like, okay, we need to learn more about Black history, and the same. Okay, we clearly have to talk about this minister's video. Yeah, but this older Black lady stood up and she's like, we need to teach about it. It needs to be in our curriculum. We need to rewrite the textbooks. And she said, I don't want to have to wait till February till white people learn we were slaves. And it was very I like that. It was just very enlightening that, like, okay, this is going to be a conscious effort. This is going to have to be getting out there and talking about it. But what I was getting to is not all black people know these things. You went to
No.
the same school as I did.
Yep.
I mean, I know, like, you probably know more of it.
No, but
I
that's
mean,
the
even, like,
point.
Juneteenth we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know what that was
I
for
had
a
not
while.
a clue.
So.
It literally was how I found out about it. A coworker of mine was like, "Oh, today's Juneteenth." A white woman, right? Might I add, was like, "Today's Juneteenth," and I went, "What?"
Right.
And she's like, "You don't know what Juneteenth is?" And I was like, "No." So then I went to the only other black person that was working in the store, and I said, "Do you know what Juneteenth is?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "But could you describe it to me?" And she's like, "No." And I went, "Okay." And then from that moment on, because as we know, I have an obsessive, right? Like personality, I went, well, now I have to know.
Right.
Yeah, but like, and that's another part of it too. Like, we all have been, for lack of a better term, jaded by the school system.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What do they say? Colonized? Or what was it? What's the word that we... Not colonized. Something. I don't remember. But it was that Dr. Jane or whatever her name. She has like a saying about our school system.
I don't remember.
Indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Yes. We were all indoctrinated. Me too.
Right.
Like, I was too.
There wasn't like a secret like Saturday black in school.
Yeah.
Like,
we had like...
we were slaves.
There's a door in the back. This is like to another classroom that no one knows about. You gotta have a secret knock. Like, no. And then it was always awkward too. We can get into this discussion because I've had this conversation with people of color where like when Black History Month came into school, you almost felt like not everything was taught, and then all of a sudden I'm in school and I'm now supposed to be the expert.
Right.
Like what? Like I'm sitting in this classroom with the rest of these children, and it's always like the teacher's like, "Do you have any input on it?" No, I just learned it. I literally just learned it. Like you just told me that information. I wasn't a slave, so no, I don't know.
I was a slave.
Right? But it's like everybody's had that experience. Like when it comes around in Black History Month, and it's like Harriet Tubman and like all this stuff like that. It's like that was my first time learning about it too. I sat in the same classroom with you, right? Alphabetical order depending on the teacher, right? And I was learning. So I just find it interesting that like Black people too, like I don't want anybody to ever feel ashamed for not knowing something. And I hope that this podcast and this video, if you watch it, gives you the humility within yourself to be like, I'm okay. Like I'm still a good person just because I don't understand Black history.
Right.
So that's why I wanted to do this like together and be like, did you know? Because I had no idea.
No.
Not the slightest clue.
I mean, I helped write them, but I didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
I should not joke.
Of course you did. Of course.
All right. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, I hope you were shocked and awed with us, and tune in next time. Oh, these are our opinions. Feel free to fact check us. We'll link to some of these, the PDF and things, so you can see what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Comments, questions, send them our way.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe. Gotta put the subscribe down there. Check out our Facebook page, Instagram page. Black and White Thoughts. Go on our Anchor page. It's the link when you click on pretty much like any of those social medias. You can listen to the podcast here. There's a bunch of other platforms you can listen to it too. But most importantly, you can leave a voice message. So we encourage conversation. I know it's kind of hard sometimes when you're on social media. You don't want to type something up because you don't want to stir the pot or turn into a whole thread. That message comes directly to us. We can listen to it and we can take your feedback and we can talk about it. So we want you guys to get involved. Pass this on, tell as many people as you can, because again, the more people that know, the bigger the conversation can be, more awareness, but also more knowledge for everybody. So, that's it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Like mad for both of our sides. I was like, I'm sick of people telling me to go back to where I came from. She's like, I'm sick of like white people telling people to go back. She's like, none of us are from here. And I was like, I know. Like
you need that one like I'm 1/16 Native American. Okay.
Yeah,
well, you're right.
And
Run
then
this country.
You're basically just proving the theory that like everybody's connected. So why are we racist? Stupid. Like,
at a very fundamental level.
Idiots. Like,
we all from Jesus.
Right.
Who was also probably a little darker skinned.
Right, and I love that too. Like,